Hi ladies and gents, in this next video we'll look at how to insert aerial photograph into AutoCAD as an external reference, and then we'll look at how to analyze and indicate your slope gradients, um, and then we'll look at how to delineate your ridges and valleys. So this is more or less what your final product should look like. Um, the first thing we want to do is to insert your aerial photograph, but before we do that you want to create all your relevant layers. So you can just go to your layer properties manager, go to the create new layer icon and just add the appropriate layers. Remember to add the code 000LA, just to make sure that your layers are always allocated to the top, and then add the relevant layer names. So the important layers will be your external reference layer, external or XREF aerial, your valleys, your ridges, and then your different slope gradients. So steeper than 1 in 4, 1 in 4 to 1 in 10, 1 in 10 to 1 in 1 in 20, and then flatter than 1 in 20. And then what you want to do is just to allocate different colors, different color codes for the four slope gradients. So you can just go to your color column and just set the appropriate colors. I suggest that you select your pastel colors just so that your layers, your colors are not overwhelming on your final plan, and that you're still able to see your contour lines. And then lastly, what you want to do is just to set the transparency. So just navigate to your transparency column and set the transparency value only for the four slope categories. Just set those to 30, and that will allow you to print to plot the transparency, and that your aerial photograph will still be visible in the background. All right, so once those layers are indicated, you want to activate your external reference layer. So you can just go to your status column and just double click that until you get the green tick. And then you want to go to the insert tab at the top, then navigate to your reference panel, select the attach icon, and then insert your aerial photograph provided. Go to open, and then on your attach image dialog, you'll need to just check your boxes for the insertion point and the scale. So check the box that says specify on screen, and then on your rotation, just specify that as 0. Click OK, and then you will need to specify your insertion point on screen. Then next you need to insert a scale factor. So just type in 100, then press enter. Then your aerial photograph will be inserted. Next, you want to align your aerial photo with the contour map. There is a reference block already indicated on the aerial photo provided. So you need to just align that reference block with the outlines of the aerial map, of the contour map. So what you want to do is just select your aerial photo, and then type in align, press enter, and then just follow the prompt in your command bar. The first is to specify your first source point, so the top left corner of that reference block as an example, and then specify the first destination point. So what you want to do is to select the very same corner that you've selected on your aerial. So we want to select the top left corner in this instance. And then it says specify the second source point. So I'm going to click the top right corner and then do the same on the contour map. And then lastly, it asks you, do you want to specify a third point? Do you want to align, specify a third point, or continue? Just hit enter to continue. And then it asks you, do you want to scale objects based on the alignment points? Say yes. And your aerial photo will be aligned with your contour map. And then next, what you want to do is to select the aerial photograph, right click, and say send to back. So go to the draw order, send to back, so that you're able to see all your contours. Right click, select your aerial photo, and then just go to the adjust panel and adjust the or the fade bar to about 30. And then lastly, you want to just create uh, clips, or create a clipping boundary. And what that means is you want to just only show your aerial photo to the extent of the contour map. So to do that, you go to the create clipping boundary icon, just click on that, and then create clippings. So specify the first corner. So in this instance, you can just click on the top left corner, and then specify the next point. So in this instance, we'll just specify the opposite corner, which is the bottom right. Okay, and then you will see that you'll only see the aerial photo within the confines of the contour map. So that is essentially how you would insert your aerial photograph in AutoCAD and scale it to align with a base plan or a contour plan in this instance. All right, so the next thing we want to do is to analyze and indicate our various slope gradients. We've got the 4 categories, steeper than 1 and 4, um, and then we've got 1 in 4 to 1 in 10, we've got 1 in 10 to 1 in 20, and then lastly, we've got the flatter than 1 in 20. So with a slope interval of 200 millimeters, we know that our vertical distance for slope areas that are steeper than 1 in 4 would be any area, any vertical distance that is 800 millimeters or less. So starting with your lowest contour, and then you can from there work your way up. What I suggest you do is to obviously have your layer called guides, and then just activate that particular layer, and then you can just start offsetting your contour lines, um, starting with the lowest category. So any area steeper than 1 in 4 would be 800 and below. So we just offset, use the offset command, press enter and insert the offset distance of 800, enter, and then you can just offset your bottom contour line by 800. And then once you've created the offset, just change the offset line to a guide, allocated to the guides layer, just so that you are able to distinguish between what's contours and what's guides. And then from there, you want to spot the intersection. So everywhere where your guide intersects with the next contour, the next adjacent contour at 800, then you can just create a line from the intersection point and then perpendicular to the next or your original contour. So everywhere where there's an intersection with the next layer at 800, just look at those, find those points. Okay, there's another one there, so you can just click on that point and then connect to the original layer at uh, a perpendicular angle. Then once you've connected all those points, you can just delete the guide line, and then you can use what is called the boundary command in AutoCAD to uh, create an enclosed boundary that you will then hatch at a later point. And this kind of is a shortened method of drawing an outline for that particular area. So instead of manually drawing a polyline all around or creating an enclosed polyline, what you can do is just type in boundary. You'll see a boundary creation dialog. Just click on new, and then you need to specify all the lines within which you want to create the boundary. Once you've selected the objects, just click on enter and then say OK. Then you can click inside that particular area and a boundary will be created. And then that kind of demarcates your first area that is at steeper than 1 in 4, so 800 millimeters or less. And then what you can do is to allocate that outline to the appropriate layer. So slope steeper than 1 to 4, and then hatch. You can give it a hatch and then allocate that particular hatch to the correct layer. Okay, so this is one way of doing it. Alternatively, you can create all your outlines first and then only allocate the hatches later. But just so that you know how it is actually done, I'm actually showing you all these steps at once. So the next thing will be then to look at your next slope category. So before you move to your next contour, what you want to do is to make sure that you deal with all the different categories as it relates to this first contour line. So you can just do the next offset, which is 1 to 1 to 4 to 1 to 10. And what that means is every area with a horizontal distance of 800 to 2 meters. So you're going to offset 2 meters. We've already done the 800, so we're going to do the 2-meter offset. Select that particular offset and then allocate it to the guides layer, and then look for every intersection that is at a 2-meter distance, 2-meter horizontal distance with the next contour. And then you can just draw the connecting lines and then connect them at a perpendicular angle. And then once you've allocated all those areas, just delete the guide, and then you can create your boundaries. Um, so screen customatic will stop at 15 minutes, so I will continue with the following categories in the next video, but you just need to create your boundaries. Then once you've created your boundaries, just allocate them to the correct layer. So this particular boundaries will fall under the 1 to 10, 1 in 10 to 1 in 20. And then for the sake of this illustration, we can just add the hatches now rather than later. Let's try that again. Okay, and then we'll continue with the next 2 categories in the next video. Cheers.